Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you on this overcast, kind of gloomy, coldish, kind of sort of day here in Duluth, Minnesota on a Friday, the 24th of May. God, this month is zipped by. Yes, I shaved off the glorious beard. It's to deal with the wife. Wintertime, I get to keep it. It grew out pretty nice. I hate my double chin. I'm fat. I'm old. Oh well. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. As always, like and subscribe. We're back up to 500 subscribers. The last person to subscribe tipped us over. I don't know what happened. Somebody left, I guess. I don't know. I'm not for everybody. I get it. No big deal. No harm, no foul. Peace and love to everybody out there. But like and subscribe. Hit the bell. You'll be notified when I upload new videos or when I go live. I will be interviewing Storn Cook. Second part of my interview will be next week, next Wednesday. It will have video. It was technical difficulty. I think I've got it all figured out. And so Storn Cook, if the name sounds familiar, if you've ever looked at Champions or Mutants and Masterminds, you've probably, or some Legends of the Five Rings. He's done a lot of art. He does a lot of commissions. He's a fantastic artist. I do have, go back in the archive, it was last week. There's an audio review or audio interview of me and him. There was no video, so you're just staring at a black screen, unfortunately. I apologize. Like I said, I didn't know it until I was 3/4 of the way through it that it wasn't recording video. It was a real pain in the ass. But the audio's fine. You can listen to it while you're driving or whatever. It was great to talk with him, and then all of a sudden he had an internet problem. He lives out in the boonies, and so he lost connectivity for whatever reason, and we couldn't get it back. So anyway, we're gonna try to do it next week and get the video going. Everything should be fine. Like and subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. I'm on ZellyPay, ZellyPay.com. You can usually get to it through your mobile app from your banking institution. Most of the U.S. banks support ZellyPay. It's free for you. It's free for me, and it helps me to keep doing this. And then on a very pertinent note, I got a job! I am working for a local energy company here in Duluth. I don't want to say too much online, but I will be their technical lead for their IT services. They have outsourced their IT department, and I will be taking care of all that and doing all the documentation as well as the day-to-day work for processing and transferring over from their IT department to our IT department. It is a permanent job, full benefits, 401k. The pay is really good. I haven't received the offer letter yet. I'll get the offer letter on Tuesday, but the verbal confirmation that I have is everything is where I need it to be. So very excited. Really looking forward to it. So things are going well. Life is getting better, but thank you guys for all your love and support. I really appreciate it, all the encouraging words. A huge shout out to my Esper Genesys game group that we play on every other Tuesday night. These guys have been they've just been awesome. I mean, I suffer from a little bit of depression. Everybody kind of knows that. And they have stuck by me through thick and thin, and they are an awesome group of gamers, and I can't wait to play some more with them. Life's a little chaotic right now. There's things going on in my personal life I'm trying to get squared away, but with my wife's health and everything. But everything is going as good as it can. My son is super happy and healthy, and so am I, and life is good. Today's video du jour is a treat. I found this from my brothers out at Nerds International. A big shout out to all those guys. One of the guys on the nerd board had posted about it, and I just went to Amazon and took a peek at it, and one of my viewers, Jesse, or Jesus, I'm not sure how he likes to be termed as, sent me a nice payment, and so I thought, well, let me put that money to use. So I bought Midgard, Hero's Handbook for 5th edition. And it ties in, as well as somebody else said, you never review 5th edition stuff. And it's true. I don't review a whole lot of D&D stuff because I'm not a huge fan of D&D. I like supers. I like dark fantasy. I like kaiju, monster fighting games, mecha games. Fantasy will always have a near and dear place in my heart because it's the first game I ever played. obviously. But I wanted to, I found this one and I read a little blurb about it, and on the glowing review of one of my MeWe friends, I picked it up, and man, I'm as you can see, I'm about a quarter of the way through it. I'm literally reading it page by page. Man, I'm really digging this. I want to talk about a cool setting. I thought Matt Mercer's Exandria setting was awesome, and I really do like it. But I guess there's that, I'm no Matt Mercer as a GM. And I don't feel competent to run in his world. And not that I think I'm a bad GM, because I know I'm a good GM, and I've been doing this for 30 years, and I always run a lot of convention games, and everyone always has a blast. I don't think I've ever had one negative feedback from a convention game. And if I have, I don't remember it, selective memory, but I've always had a good time running convention games. I try to make them fast-paced and fun and intuitive and make it easy, handouts and everything. And so, man, I think this is going to be my fantasy go-to setting. I really like the setting. First of all, it is hardback. It is stitched and sewn in a glued binding, so it's not going to fall apart anytime soon on you, which is always a good thing. I want to move the microphone a little closer, although I see I'm peaking just fine on audio, but always makes me feel better when the mic is right here. You guys can't see it because of the angle of the camera, but it's right here in front of my mouth. So this is the Hero's Handbook for Midgard, and this is by Kobold Press and Deep Magic. And I gotta say, I am thoroughly impressed. Kudos to Kobold Press and Deep Magic. You guys knocked it out of the park. The setting information in here is pretty solid. I'm actually, now that I've got the offer, I'm going to get the offer letter on Tuesday. I'm going to go ahead and order the World Book, which is 99% fluff. But I want to know more about the world, because from what I've read in here, it's pretty awesome. It's a very fleshed out fantasy setting. I haven't seen a map yet of the world, and I don't know if there is one, but I've read so far what I've read. As far as the consistency of the book and the layout of the book, the art is, you guys know it's a pet peeve of mine, consistent art. Consistency. This book's got it in spades. We don't have a whole lot of bleeding art on the edges. The table of contents is fully listed. There's an index. Well, there's a full index in the back, I believe. Is there? Oh, there is no index. There's a table of contents, but no index. So I didn't even know it, because like I said, I've been reading this from cover to cover, so I didn't flip to the back. There is what appears to be the OGL, which by law they have to put in there, and then there's some advertisements. Adventure on every page, Kobold Press. Magic Knows 1,000 Roads, another Kobold Press book. And then Find Adventure with Midgard. So evidently there is a couple of different books for Midgard. So I'm going to look into those, because the completionist in me wants them all. But man, I got to tell you, I'm very happy with the book so far. I also have Kobold Press's, it's on the shelf. And I don't see it. It's probably buried. I have the Monster Manual, which I don't see laying out anywhere. Is that it? No, that's League of Seekers. There it is. I have Creature Codex, which I did a review of, and this is also by Kobold Press. This is Tomes of Beast 2. I would like to get their first one. I really kind of want to avoid buying all of the 5th edition books, because once you go down that rabbit hole, it's like 3.5. There are so many books out there that it's just a money sink, and you'll never use them all. But I will get good use out of this book, because I think it will work in conjunction with Midgard. I don't plan on using the Monster Manual or the Player's Handbook too much. Because I think this will give me everything I need. I think when I'm going to try to run a Saturday campaign here, as soon as I can drum up enough players. I restarted my meetups group on the internet, and I've gotten several people that are interested. So now it's just trying to get everybody together and form a gaming group and run this. I need to run out of my house, because I got the baby, and I can't go to a game store and keep the baby in a game store for 4 to 6 hours. That's just not fair to him. And you know, got to change diapers, got to feed him and everything. He's just too small. When he gets a little bit older and he's a little more self-sufficient, and I can sit him at a table and he can eat and do stuff, that'll be fine. But for right now, I want to run out of my house. Plus, I'm comfortable in my house, and I want to run this because, man, I'm telling you, it has really, really got me excited for for D&D, and that's nothing's happened for that in a long time. The art. So we've talked about a little bit about the layout of the book. Let's see, how many pages are we shooting at here? The OGL, of course. We got 3 pages of ads, a nice piece of art in the back, 211 pages of material. It's chock full, guys. If you're looking for your non-traditional fantasy setting and you don't want to play in like Forgotten Realms or Eberron, which are both very fine settings. I'm a huge Eberron fan. You can probably see the books up there on the shelf right there. That's all Eberron books. Gorgeous stuff. But I like this Midgard setting because I'm going into it with a fresh set of eyes, new wonderment, and the players will too, because I don't think my players are going to know much about this, because unfortunately here in Duluth and the Superior, Wisconsin area, the game stores, there's 3, they don't have like a new item shelf where they put new books, because they just don't do enough business to warrant getting in everything that comes out and trying to, you know, entice you to buy it. So you have to special order things. So people aren't going to see this sitting on their game shelf. They're going to see it on Amazon. They're going to buy it. So I'm hoping my players will go out and buy the book. It does have this kind of bleed through parchment, with like the ink stains in the middle, like it's an old tome. It's very well done. I like the aesthetics that they're going through. They talk about the races, and starting age, height, and weight. They do a good job of, you can play a bear folk, which I think is awesome. One of the things I really enjoyed in 13th Age, which is a derivative of D&D, was that they had bear folks in the Apotheosis or Amethyst setting from Das Ex Machina or DEM. And you could play a bear in there. And so I played a bear monk. It was over the top. It was so much fun. But it kind of harkens back to that. I'm sorry, guys. My allergies are killing me. Nose is itching like crazy. So the bear folk is a playable race. They kind of... You still have your humans, your elves, and your dwarves, of course. They're a slightly different spin on them. Nothing too crazy, but you can also play centaurs, which is super awesome. Dhampirs, which is pretty cool. Half vampire, half human, which is pretty awesome. Of course, dwarves and elves. Gear Forged is another new one, which I think D&D even made. You got Warforged in the Eberron setting, and then these are true automatons. I can't think of the word. Automatons? Yeah, automatons. These are gears, and of course they have to be repaired. They can't be healed. Gnolls is also a player race, so gnolls are not necessarily the evil bad guy like they are in like Forgotten Realms and Eberron. So that part is pretty cool. If you do decide to play a gnoll, your ability score increases by 2 for your strength. And let's see what else it says. Alignments is a product of a culture that values laziness and selfishness and dominance. Most gnolls are evil. On top of that, an unprecedented existence, an unpredictable existence where every day could be the last, usually leads to the chaotic view of the world. With that said, there are always exceptions to every norm. So you can play, maybe a gnoll was raised in an orphanage with humans or dwarves or whatever, and so he wasn't, he didn't have to fight for food or whatever. So you can play your character how you want, and that's a standard trope in any role-playing game. You can always, what's normally considered an evil race doesn't necessarily have to be evil. Of course, you can play gnomes. And then they have a whole bunch of human derivatives. You can also play a kobold, which I thought was really cool. And then minotaurs and rat folks, and of course raven folks. So you can play like a raven. Shadow Fae, which are basically tieflings. They just don't come out and call them tieflings. They're called Shadow Fae. And then the one that really just caught me off guard that I was not expecting, Trollkin. Yes, you can play a half troll. So you play basically a half troll. So you get some of the troll abilities, and I just think that's awesome. And of course they have halflings. And then it goes into your characters, your martial and roguish characters. And I like how they break it down. So it's martial and roguish. So all your bard, barbarian, warriors, fighters, Dragonborn are also in here and also represented, which is awesome. So speaking that gnolls aren't always the bad guy, there's a human cutting a gnoll's head off. So fighter, paladins, different oaths for the paladins, which I thought was really nice. There's some very nifty changes in here that I really, really like. I mean, I can just imagine a rogue kobold. I think that would be just amazing. And then some of the duelist archetype for the rogue. So they go into all these different subclasses of the different main classes, which is awesome. You can be a fixer, so you don't want to be the rogue that backstabs. You want to be the guy that finds the best price for all the loot when the party comes back from its adventure. You can be a fixer. I think that's amazing. I think that's really, really cool. The duelist archetype has dueling blades, dancing blades, strike first, strike last, virtuoso. I mean, it's just really, it's a very cool take on everything that's come before, and I like that. It appears, from what I've read so far, it's well written. I haven't found too many spelling errors. Nothing that made me kind of scratch my head. Well, one thing made me scratch my head in a good way. First of all, new clerical domains, which I think is, you want to set the feeling of your world, you've got to have a religion. And it's very pervasive in this game, and it's really, really well done, but it's not overshadowing anything else. You don't have to use religion in your game if it's a sore subject with your group, and these guys take it to that point and just tell you, hey, if you don't want to use this, you don't have to. And I like that. It's not in your face. These are new clerical domains. Use them if you want. Stick with the original Player's Handbook domains. You're fine to do both. But they have new domains in here, and they are, in my opinion, pretty damn awesome. The Apocalypse domain. Buy the book, read it. I'm telling you, it is amazing. One of the things they've done, which I don't think the Player's Handbook does, is starting at 6th level, and then again at about 11th or 14th level, you get a Divine Strike. And maybe the Player's Handbook does this. I don't recall. And correct me if I'm wrong down in the notes. But all of these clerical domains, usually right around 6th or 8th level, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes, in this case necrotic damage, because this is the Apocalypse domain. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 necrotic damage to the target. When you reach 14th level, the extra damage increases to 2d8. That's on top of everything else you're already doing. So, man, at 8th level, you're just a wrecking. Now, granted, you could roll 2d8 and roll 2 extra ones, but still, that's 2 extra points of damage that you didn't have before. So, really cool. The one that just grabbed me and made me chuckle and made me happy and basically made me think that I want to run in this world, the clerical domain of the beer domain. Yes, you heard me right. The heady brew of fortitude, courage, and companionship is your nectar, and you share its blessing with those who need it. So, not only are you all about healing, you're also about making your companions and your compatriots happy. So, and of course, every one of these new domains gives you their spell list as your domain spells that you get. You get a new domain spell every level. So, and there's nothing groundbreaking here, but it makes sense. So at 1st level, comprehend languages and heroism. 2nd level, blur and suggestion. 5th level, aura of vitality, hypnotic pattern. 7th level, confusion, resilient spear. And at 9th level, dream and modify memory. But one of the things that he gets, Channel Divinity, is clerical ability. Starting at 2nd level, you can use your Channel Divinity to transform a container of non-magical liquid into Blessed Brew. The number of doses equals 3 plus your Wisdom modifier. So any cleric half his salt is going to have minimum a +2 and at best a +3, possibly even up to if you build your character right and you min-max, which let's face it, a lot of us do, you could get a +5 in there. So you could do this up to 8 times a day starting at 2nd level, and of course it's going to go up from there. Any special attributes the liquid previously had are negated. Anyone who imbibes 1 dose of this brew can choose one of the following benefits. Advantage on charisma-based skill checks, a +1 bonus to armor class, or a +1 increase to the DC of saving throws against their castings of enchantment spells. Only enchantment spells. That is awesome. A +1 is huge. And this is a Channel Divinity. This is something you can just do. And you can do it, a minimum of 4 times and up to possibly a maximum of 8 times at 2nd level. And it's good for an hour, and you can only partake of it once every 24 hours. So once you make the brew, it's good for an hour, and then it reverts back to a very tasty brew. It doesn't have any magical benefits. It just tastes good. So it doesn't go bad, doesn't go rancid, aside from if it would normally go bad or rancid, depending on what you made it out of. And you can only partake of it once every 24 hours, and it lasts an hour, which if you're about to go into combat and you know it, this is awesome. You do your flask, everybody takes a big haughty draught, and they can choose a +1 to AC, +1 to DC, for their enchantment spells if it's a sorcerer or some sort of magic user. So Beer Domain, spot on, awesome. A lot of other cool abilities. Root and Rally, Divine Strike, they get the same thing. Theirs is at 8th level again. They can add a 1d8 for radiant damage, and then when they hit 14th level, they can do it again. They give you a list of all the gods. There's a cat domain, which I had no interest in. There is a clockwork domain, because remember, clockworks is a viable race, so therefore they have their own gods and a pantheon, which is super cool. Dragon domain, which was really nice to see. It's very similar to the sorcerer dragon, if you take that ancestral path, but of course you get clerical spells and domain spells. So that's very cool. A hunger domain. So what I like about this is some of these domains are kind of on the evil side or the darker side. So if you wanted to make a protagonist for or an antagonist for the players, you've got some options here. You don't have to go to like the DMG. It's all in this book, which I think is really cool. There's a hunting domain, so there's a nice dragonborn, probably a paladin, which looks awesome, the art. Moon domain, prophecy, speed, ocean, mountain domains, travel domain, and the void domain. There's also a new circle for your druidic path, the Circle of Stones. I haven't really read too much on that one. The art, though, guys, that's an awesome piece of art right there. It's really well done by Brian Simi. Brian, your art is fantastic, dude. Shout out to you, sir. That's fantastic. New Sorceress Bloodlines. Remember, there is a Minotaur race that you can play. You can also you can be a Sorceress Bloodline of the Mazeborn, which obviously, if you were going to be you could be a human Minotaur and take this as a source path, and even just add on to your awesomeness. New Warlock paths. You can see my bookmark I was reading here. So I'm still reading through it. Genies, Warlocks for Genie. Let's see what else. The Great Machine, because again, it makes sense. Light Eater, another Warlock path. And then new arcane background traditions for your wizards. So Angelic Scribe. And these just add so much flavor. Wizard School Clockwork. So all kinds of Doom Croaker, which is another arcane thing. And that which goes with the Raven Eye. Arcane Dragon Mask, which, I mean, I haven't read that stuff, so really lots of new spells. I don't believe they reprint any spells. I think these are all new spells. So there's a huge spell section. There's also runes, which is neat. They bring rune magic into this, so I think that is awesome. And tell you how to spell casting rules, ley lines, and geomancy, which I think is awesome. That's a great thing. In D&D in the Forgotten Realms, they never talk about ley lines. There's magic in the world, and that's how it works. Here they give you basically some more information with ley lines, and if I'm a huge Rifts fan, so having that kind of is just even more information. The art in here, guys, I can't go over the art enough. It is so cool, so vibrant, good use of color. Look at the knoll. Oh my gosh, look at that. How invocative. I got to see if I can buy this as a PDF, or maybe I'll reach out to the guys at Hobo Press and see if they'll send me, since I bought the book, if they'll send me a copy of the PDF, because this is amazing. Flaws and background, so whole new, specific to the Midgard realm. I think that is phenomenal. Let's see what we get past. These are all our spells. I'm trying to get past spells and see what's in here, because I'm pretty sure, God, there's a huge section of spells. Creatures, magic items, and other miscellaneous. So the last half of the book is all spells. So it's all new spells, which is amazing. But we've got creatures and monsters, clockwork, jewel, scarab, and they give you the stats and everything. Dorning, heavy war horses. Dorning is an area. Oh my gosh. Kobold mounts, ring servant, snowcat. Just amazing art. Look at this thing, man. I don't even know what this thing is, but I want one. I don't know. What is that? That is, if I can get it, that is just a cool picture. The art's kind of reminds me of WoW, and harken back to the early days of WoW, which I like. Tupolak Golem, that's gnarly. I don't want to run into that. And then there's a giant, or an undead. That's an undead giant, I think. That's a Vatir, or Veet-tier. I don't even want to know. Snarly, scary, and whatever it is. And then they give us some magic items. There's only two. The Knithing Pole and the Elkhorn Rod. And then there's some mundane items that they go into. So, and the new condition, snow blindness, which I think is awesome. So, guys, that's Midgard. Like I said, I'm going to order the setting book. This is the Player's Handbook, or the Hero's Handbook, not to be confused with the Player's Handbook. That's copyrighted. But, man, Kobold Press, Deep Magic, you guys, you got a new fan. I love this. I'm hoping I can get this to the game table and I can run it for my group, because I think it's amazing. I think it's really well done. Like I said, I'm going to order the setting book. That's mostly fluff. I'm going to look back here in the back and see what these other books are, and maybe hold off on the fluff book until I know I've got a gaming group. But the other stuff I can use, because I can always pillage it for other games. The setting book's kind of, that's specific to their world. That's the back cover. You can see the art is phenomenal in the book. I highly recommend, if you guys are looking for a different setting that's a little bit different from like Forgotten Realms or Eberron or Greyhawk, and you want something different that's truly unique in its own way, I think Midgard is a really good setting. I've just read up on the basics. The Blood Kingdom, Black King Lucas, it's kind of like the bad guy. And there's the Grand Duchy of Dorning, the Wasted West, the Shadow Realm. So it's all these little areas, and I'm hoping the Realm book or the World book has a map. I'm going to go to their website and check it out. I haven't been to the website. I'm going to look up Deep Magic and see if there's a website for them. It's Kobold Press, so I'll go to their website and maybe it'll take me from there. Very excited, very happy for it. So hope you enjoyed this review. It's just my thoughts and what I think of the book. I think it's a definite buy. It retails for $39.99. I got it for like $31 on Amazon, and I got it like the next day. I ordered it on Sunday. It was here Monday. So I've been reading it since then. And of course, I closed the page without putting my bookmark back in. So I know I'm in the Sorcerer's Powers. So I'm going to read up a little bit more on that. Yeah, there we go. Arcane backgrounds. So I'm right there. So guys, pick it up, enjoy it. Let me know what you think of it after you've read it. Did you like it? Was it not your cup of tea? Let me know. As always, like and subscribe. Helps out the channel. Pass it on to your friends. Feel free to repost my videos on any forums you're on or whatever. But as always, guys, you know, I lost my mouse. I lost my mouse. Oh, my power's dead. All right, guys. Peace and hair grease. And remember, Mr. Mean says, be nice.